Hello, everyone. This is Retail 205. The session name changed about a week or two ago, so I just want to make sure you guys are in the right session. I'm really excited to have some great guests on stage with me today. What we're going to be covering is first the Retail Competency launch. So if anybody was in or saw the Global Partner Summit this morning, and Doug Hume finally launched our Retail Competency, we'll go over that. We also have rue21 and Manthan doing a presentation, and then followed by Kimberly-Clark and LLamasoft. So as I mentioned, we're very excited that we launched the Retail Competency. And for those of you who aren't familiar with these competencies, before today we had 21 competencies, and competencies are a way for us to showcase our best-in-class partners based on certain domains. So what we've had over the last couple years we have thousands of retail customers that have been asking us for who the best-in-class partners are to solve specific use cases. So to help them out and to help them filter through tens of thousands of partners that we have, we built this Retail Competency. Now we've split it out into 6 categories plus consulting. So we've tried to focus this on specific roles within an organization. So if you look at customer engagement, we're typically targeting someone in the marketing or digital innovation area. We also have partners that align to corporate merchandising and planning, also supply chain distribution. The stores is what we're calling digital, virtual, or physical stores. We have advanced retail data science, and then also core business applications. And if you look underneath here, I'll give you a minute to look at it, we kind of break down which solutions we're looking for and targeting so that we can, again, really help our retailers innovate and modernize so that they can really optimize the customer journey that we talk about. For consulting, we've identified partners who have a specialty in any of these categories, especially when they're looking at doing things like migrating SAP or moving to S/4HANA or JDA or Oracle or any of these historical older applications or companies that have been around for a while that we know that they want to move these applications to AWS, and these partners have expertise in doing that. So we're excited to showcase. This is the largest launch we've had for a competency. The demand is very high from our retailer customers. We've got 39 technology partners. We've got 11 consulting partners from all over the world. So I'll let you look through this list because it's a very extensive list. And we're really proud that today we have a couple of these partners on stage with us. So to start out, we have our friends from rue21 and Manthan. So please welcome Doug and Shiva. Great, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Shiva, and I lead the Americas business for Manthan.
Hey there, everyone. My name is Doug Langer, representing rue21, and I'm currently leading the business intelligence and analytics initiatives for the company. Thank you.
So my background is in retail. I've spent the better part of last 2 decades in retail technology. And if you're in retail today, it's really hard to not get bogged down by all the negativity around store closures and bankruptcies. So what we wanted to do today in this session, over the next 25 minutes, is to share the story of one of our customers, rue21. Not too long ago, they were facing some of these similar challenges, including Chapter 11. But they took on a very bold and inspiring strategy of embracing data and analytics, embracing speed and agility, putting customer at the center of it to deliver a remarkable transformation in their business, a successful outcome that probably often doesn't get talked about in our industry. So they partnered with Manthan and AWS in that journey. So we're proud to have been contributor to that achievement. So before I get into that, I do want to introduce Manthan and our partnership with AWS. We are a global leader in providing prescriptive analytic applications on the cloud for consumer-facing businesses. Over the last 15 years, we've developed deep expertise in retail across all formats of retail, from fashion to grocery, supermarket, convenience store chains. And our mission is really to enable every decision in retail organization to be algorithmic, be it marketing, be it merchandising, or customer experience. So how do we do that? Number one, our pre-built applications on the cloud helps us deliver speed. Number two, our prepackaged advanced analytics and machine learning algorithms helps us deliver actionable insights on that data. And number three, our Uber focus on a very rich consumption layer, essentially where the business consumes those insights. That helps us deliver adoption, scale, and innovation. About our partnership with AWS, we started the journey almost 7 years ago, as Manthan was making the transition from an on-prem software license model to a SaaS model. We chose to go with the best in the business, and while cloud has given us a lot of the typical benefits of cost reduction, speed, agility, scalability, etc., what AWS has given us is really continuous innovation across the data management, advanced analytics, and visualization competencies through their new and improved services over the last several years. And we have been able to take that in turn and continuously innovate on the business applications that we provide to our customers in solving some of their pressing needs. So I want to give a couple of examples. In retail, as probably all of you know, one of the key challenges is enabling real-time inventory across all your stores and all your channels. It's a hard problem to solve because of the number of computations that need to happen real-time, especially in larger enterprises. So for one of our large convenience store customers in the US, we have been able to provide them real-time inventory visibility across 500 plus stores using AWS Lambda service. Just to give you a sense of the scale, we are processing almost 1 billion discrete inventory events over a span of 2 minutes in order to deliver that visibility across the enterprise. I think something that would not be possible without the innovation with the Lambda service. Similarly, we have been an early adopter of Redshift. As Redshift was maturing back in 2015, 2016, we made a commitment to move all of our warehouse appliances workloads onto Redshift, and we partnered very closely with the product development team at AWS to mature that capability. And if you were at the keynote with Andy Jassy yesterday, he actually referred to us as one of these global successful implementations on Redshift. And thanks to Jennifer, Tom, and the entire retail leadership team at AWS, we're seeing a lot of focus in this sector in the last 18 months or so. So we were the digital competency partner earlier, digital experience partner earlier this year, and proud to be part of the retail competency launch today. A quick note, some of you who are focused on personalization space would probably be aware of this. We made a big move. We made an announcement to join hands with RichRelevance, who is a global leader in experience personalization. We just announced it last month. So the real power is combining Manthan's retail CDP and our solutions in marketing and merchandising analytics with the power of real-time experience personalization from RichRelevance. We have put together one of the most complete and compelling algorithmic retailing solution suites for consumer businesses today. And at this point, I would like to invite Doug, instead of me speaking more on our solution capabilities, I would request him to share the journey at rue21, how some of these capabilities have enabled them in their algorithmic retail transformation.
My pleasure. Thank you. So, thought we could use a little video to spice things up a little bit, get everyone a little bit excited for the session. And I want to thank Shiva, obviously, for inviting me onto the stage with him today, and also thanking Jennifer and Tom as well for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to represent the organizations. So, before we talk a little bit about rue21. I thought I would take a minute and just tell you maybe a little bit about myself. So I'm a retail veteran. As Jennifer and I were discussing this morning over breakfast, we actually found we had a overlapping past, which was interesting. But retail is a small world. So my experience was primarily on the business side, all aspects of allocation, forecasting, replenishment, inventory management, really building all of those skills together. And about a year and a half ago, I had a unique opportunity. Dr. Mark Crystal, who is rue21's Chief Analytics Officer, who I'll speak about a little bit in a moment, rejoined the organization about 2 years ago. And about a year and a half ago, I had an opportunity to make a unique transition from the business side into the IT side, which brings me here today. And my primary role then with rue21 is to help take the company on the journey of the retail transformation and the technical transformation as we build our future analytics capabilities. So about rue21 itself, kind of a common thing we hear is we're potentially one of the largest unknown fashion retailers. So as you saw from the video, that was featuring our newest holiday assortment that's now in our stores. We're a fast fashion retailer, so our objective is bringing fashion at a value to our customers. So we're curating the greatest assortment, we're giving them the latest trends, but we're giving it to them at a price point that they can afford. So currently we're just under 700 stores. And our target is really the 13 to 55-year-old, but the way to summarize it would be anyone who wants to simply look and feel 21. We're confident that they can come to our store, find that great fashion, and take something home with them. So, well, I'd like to also tell you a little bit about our history, and Shiva touched on it in his introduction, that not too long ago, almost exactly 2 years, we were emerging from our bankruptcy. And certainly having been with the company for 8 years, I had the opportunity to witness the growth and also the decline. So it certainly affected me personally. So I'm very proud to be standing here and telling you about our journey and how we were able to turn things around. But the reason that happened was that we put data in the middle of everything, and I'll continue to touch on that as we move forward. But what you see here on the slide effectively is that we didn't have a customer strategy, and not considering our customers' behavior and considering their feedback and the actions we were taking was not contributing to our success. So in order to move forward, we had to come up with a customer strategy, and that is the start of our data-driven turnaround. So as I alluded to, Dr. Mark Crystal, who I've actually had the opportunity to work with several times over my retail career, when he rejoined rue21 about 2 years ago, he came back as our Chief Analytics Officer. And Mark's in a very unique role. He's not only overseeing the IT functions and the technical aspects of the business, but Mark is also responsible for all of merchandise planning, allocation, inventory management, as well as CRM and loyalty. So Mark really has a broad hold on the trajectory of the organization from a capabilities perspective. So one of the very first things that Mark led when he rejoined the company was a project to actually find out who our customer was. There were a lot of perceptions over the years, and again, we were a 1,200 store chain. We were opening 100 stores a year, and we were operating under this notion that we knew who our customer was, when in reality, we didn't. And so the very first thing that Mark led was a market study, effectively, that came back and said that there were really two segments of our customers that we could win with. They have some kind of interesting names I'll share with you. We have our frugal fashionista. The frugal fashionista is the customer that's on a budget, but they know what they want. They want that latest fashion. They're comfortable. They can put that outfit together themselves. So they're coming to our store. They're finding that great fashion, and they're going on their way. The second segment that we identified was our assisted style seeker. Again, it's a little bit of a mouthful, but our assisted style seeker is effectively the customer who is also looking for that great fashion, but they're just not quite sure how to put the outfit together. So they're coming to us and they're looking for guidance and reassurance that when they wear that top and wear that bottom, that they are going to rock it and they're going to look amazing and they're going to feel amazing. So the groundwork was laid. We knew who our customer was once and for all from a data-driven perspective. Now came the enablement of the analytics layer. And that obviously intros the relationship of Manthan and rue21's relationship. So as everyone looks at the screen, we had a disparate data, which is probably not uncommon to a lot of you who are in retail, and it may not even be your customer data, it may be your product data. I know product attribution is a personal challenge for me in making sure that we have all of that data in an easily accessible place, but it was a bit of a mess. It was siloed. I refer to this as the sort of spaghetti. Everything was everywhere. And so the very, very first thing that Manthan did for us was giving us the ability to collect all of our data together from a customer perspective in a unified view. And what that really delivered for us was the first ability of looking at the customer from a 360-degree perspective. This also plugged in the foundation for rue21 as we continue on our journey to further enable better personalization and better customized experiences for our customers moving forward. Okay, so how do we do it? We rewind to, again, just about a year ago from now was when I first was introduced to Shiva, and we kicked off the project. And for those of you that are in IT or in the business for that matter, would appreciate, we implemented the product in 6 weeks. So when we talk about speed, it was a speed that I had actually never experienced before myself. But the goal was to get the tool in place, up and running for our critical Q4 holiday period. And certainly the capability afforded by Manthan and their partnership with AWS allowed us that speed to get that platform up and running in that quick period of time. And the solution offers a number of capabilities out of the box. So it was definitely a win for us and kept that momentum going on our data-driven transformation. The platform also gives us opening, if you will, or a pre-built capability so that as new data needs come online, as we want it to integrate new things. For example, our loyalty program is going to be kicking off in Q1 of next year called Rue Rewards. So we're all very excited about that. It'll be our first official loyalty program. So as something like that, as an example, comes online, the Manthan platform affords us the ability to plug that data in and continue to enrich the customer records.
So maybe I'll ask a question on behalf of the audience. So when I talk to a lot of retail customers, one of the key questions that keeps coming up is whether they need to invest in a CDP, given some of the fragmented investments that have happened over time. So from your experience of having implemented a CDP program, what would be some of the key unlocks that rue21 has benefited for the audience's benefit?
Absolutely. So a great question, Shiva. So it's really a handful of things, but the number one is the golden record. If we think back to that prior slide with all of the disparate sources, not only was the data all over the place, but it was following different rules. And so there were often questions why does this set of data not match this set of data? Why am I getting a different result? Having the Customer 360 platform in place eliminated all of that. It once and for all got all the data, one place, one version of the truth. Additionally, the value, and as I mentioned before, the value of the ongoing enrichment as we do plug in these new capabilities. Our loyalty program will be the one I mentioned coming online. Payment type, which I can actually share with you something interesting about payment type, but also clickstream data. As we're measuring our customers' relationship and interaction with us from a digital perspective, we're able to build out their profile.
That's great. I think if you can move to the next slide.
Yep.
So our experience has been that CDP is an essential foundational capability in retail today. But at the same time, you need to keep in mind that CDP is not an end in itself. Right? It's a means to an end. Essentially, while it's great to have all the customer data across transaction data, behavior data, going through that cleanup enrichment process that Doug alluded to create a single golden customer record is extremely valuable, and it delivers speed. You also need capabilities in terms of translating that data into actionable insights. So our platform comes with a set of prepackaged algorithms that helps you make the transition, and then the business could use those insights in terms of tailoring the customer experience, personalized to each individual channel, and create a consistent personalization journey with your brand. So that, I think, was another area of unlock for rue21. I know there are a couple of good examples of the business benefits that you've realized within the short time frame that the platform has been up and running.
Absolutely, and I have a few that I'd like to share. So as we had the new tool online, new capabilities at hand, we had taken a look for our back-to-school time period, and we utilized market basket analysis. And for those of you that aren't familiar, it's effectively looking at the customer's basket and understanding which products are being bought most frequently together to help you understand the relationship of those products and those transactions. So we've been utilizing market basket analysis to understand how we should structure product banners on our website for product pages featuring products that we know our customers are already buying together. That was an absolute win for us that we implemented during our back-to-school time period just a few months back. Another great example, Shiva, is around microsegmentation. So microsegmentation allows us to drill in and find micro sets of customers that have similar attributes, if you will. And what we did was looked at customers' average spend and how big is their basket as they're checking out. And we utilized that to cater our holiday gift guide marketing and catered the price point. So for customers who were spending a higher dollar amount on average, we featured the higher priced gift items, and conversely, lower spend customers catered to the lower priced items. And what we found was that campaign was actually driving a higher revenue. So that was a great win for us. But what it all boils down to is that the implementation of the tool, one version of the truth, and the speed to add new capabilities is given rue21 the ability to generate actionable insights. We can test and learn at will. Someone can have a great idea of, I want to look at this segment and how they react to this offer, and we're able to do it in a way that better informs our customers'
That's
needs.
a great point, because our experience has also been that a capability like this in the hands of the business, where they're able to utilize that to test and learn in a very dynamic fashion. Some of you probably are aware, in traditional ecosystems, it takes a long time for that feedback to loop back in and for you to take action. And of course, today's business moves at a much faster speed. So what we've enabled is a closed loop process that give that capability in the hands of the marketeer to test and learn and create the results that you're looking for.
Perfect. All right, so I'd like to summarize it for you all, and I've talked a lot about it, but the key benefits that we realized from our partnership with Manthan and AWS is speed of implementation, generating actionable insights, opening possibilities for better engagement with our customers, but finally, it's enabling a robust marketing and merchandising analysis.
And I think now that you have a robust solution in place on the customer side, what is next for your analytics initiatives?
Absolutely. So this one's close to my heart. As I mentioned to you early on, growing up in the merchandising side of the house, we're actually partnering with Manthan currently to implement an algorithmic optimization to our current assortment planning strategy and our assortment planning process. So as we continue to learn more about our customers and we're providing a better experience to them, we're now also able to build a better assortment that's optimizing not only how many styles we should buy, but also what the depth should be, as well as the size and pack configurations that are being sent to our stores. So it has a double win. It's providing the customer with a better assortment, but it's also providing our company with an opportunity to more strategically invest our inventory in our stores to maximize our sales and minimize our markdowns. So we're super excited to be kicking that off and hopefully live in Q1 of next year.
We are as well. So I think that's a very inspiring story. Like I said at the beginning, we hear a lot of negative stories in the industry, and these are the stories I think that drives the importance of data and analytics-led strategy in the way retail needs to function going forward. And from a summary perspective, if you are looking at making that transformation to algorithmic retailing, it's quite likely that Manthan and AWS have solved that problem in some shape or form across the globe. So myself and Doug, we are available after the session as well to answer any questions. We're happy to chat more. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have our friends from LLamasoft. So I'd like to introduce to you Paul Applegate.
Thanks, Jennifer.
There you go.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul Applegate. I'm the Vice President of Alliances at LLamasoft. Before I kick off, I want to thank all of you for spending the hour with us. We know there are lots and lots of choices at reInvent. So the fact that you took time out of your schedule, time perhaps out of your lunch hour to come and spend time with us is very much appreciated. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about LLamasoft here. I joined the company about a year ago. And when I was considering joining, there were a couple of data points on this slide in particular that really caught my attention. The first data point was the investment that LLamasoft makes on a yearly basis around research and development. Some of you might be aware of the fact that normally companies spend about 8 to 12% of their revenue on R&D. LLamasoft spends a quarter of its revenue every year on R&D. The other thing that really caught my attention was the number of Fortune 1000 companies that were entrusting their mission-critical applications to a small software company from Ann Arbor, Michigan. 60% of the Fortune 1000, 50% of the Fortune 100 are leveraging our platform on a daily basis to make mission-critical decisions. It's been about a year since I joined, as I said, and in that time, it's become very clear to me why companies like Unilever, companies like Adidas, companies like Tesco, companies like IKEA, companies like Walmart, companies like CVS, why they're leveraging our platform. Specifically, they are leveraging our technology to drive better decision-making from their supply chain. Specifically, they are optimizing, simulating, and using our advanced analytics to be able to address questions on a daily basis about where they should place their distribution centers, how much inventory they should carry, what kind of routing their truck should follow. And when you start to think about the world in which we're living, right, you think about some of the things that Thomas Friedman and others are talking about, all these accelerators in the market, all of this change that we're facing, whether it's climate change, whether it's market disruption, whatever it might be, every company has to kind of get everything they can out of all of their assets. And we believe that the untapped potential around extracting full value from your supply chain is in many cases underutilized. So we're really excited about the path that we're on with our 700 plus customers. As I mentioned, we're working with some of the biggest CPG and retailers in the world. Michael's going to come up in a minute and talk about what Kimberly-Clark has been doing with us for the last 3 years. It's a really impressive journey. We're proud of the relationship that we've built with them, and we look forward to doing more of them. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring Michael up, and he's going to talk about Kimberly-Clark's LLamasoft journey.
Thanks, Paul. So, Paul did a great job of talking about LLamasoft, and I really wish I had a cool video like Doug had. But you know, we're talking about Kimberly-Clark here, a 150-year-old company. We make products like Huggies, Kleenex, Scott Tissue, Kotex, and Depend products. So the really interesting stat here is that 1/4 of the world's population uses one of our products every single day. And I did note that in the hotel here, if you've happened to use the bathroom, you've contributed to that number for us. So we really appreciate that happening overall. Our business is broke down into 3 basic segments. We have personal care, which represents $9 billion in sales for us annually. Consumer tissue represents another $6 billion. And then our KC Professional Group, which is what you see in the restrooms here, along with our wipers and safety business, represents another $3 billion. Kimberly-Clark embarked on a strategy about 3 years ago, as Paul mentioned earlier here. And with that, we had 3 distinct pillars that we wanted to implement as a company. First and foremost, we wanted to grow our portfolio of iconic brands. We invented many of the categories that we compete in today, and we wanted to continue to grow those. We wanted to leverage our cost and financial discipline. We're known as a company that's got a lot of financial discipline. Our FORCE program gets talked about constantly during our investor calls. FORCE stands for Focus on Reducing Cost Everywhere, and so it's a key pillar for us. And we're also within that area of cost discipline, we're looking at inventory, we're looking at a lot of different areas there. Final pillar was allocate capital in value creation ways for us. That's just what any company wants to do. Now, I'm going to focus on 4 elements within these 3 pillars. The first is that when we look at growing our iconic brand, we want to accelerate growth in our developing and emerging markets. It's no doubt that China, India, and others represent a disproportionate value proposition for us because of the sheer number of people. So in those markets where we're growing, we want to accelerate that growth even more. And then the leveraging cost and financial discipline, we want to drive ongoing supply chain productivity. So this was a natural fit with LLamasoft. We didn't want a one and done area where we're going in and rationalizing our distribution network or our plants. We wanted something that was ongoing, that could help us understand where we produce, when we should produce it. And then we also wanted to drive down our working capital. So there we're focusing on our inventory initiatives that we have. And then finally, in the allocate capital and value creating ways, we wanted to execute disciplined capital spending. We want to make sure that every dollar we're putting into our asset base is giving us a fair return for it. So with that, we embarked about a year ago with our Chinese team on a network design study within China. There's 3 elements here. There's a physical element, there's a customer element, and there's a data element for this. Within the physical element, we've got multiple plants in the China country. Each of these plants has multiple assets within it. Some of those assets have the same capability to produce products. Some of them have unique capability for them. And then from a customer standpoint, the second pillar in there, the market in China is increasingly moving to e-commerce at a faster pace than most markets are. And what that's doing to us is it's driving higher and higher demand variability. Their Singles Days and Spring Festival forward buying, they've actually taken the Black Friday concept and even applied that to consumer products. So we see people forward buying diapers. We see people forward buying toilet tissue during these promotional periods. So it's really increasing our demand variability. And the consumers in China are becoming more and more demanding of a unique and complex product. They want the best for their children. They want the best for the retailers, want the best products to offer to those, whether that's an online retailer or a brick and mortar retailer. So that sets the stage for the customer side. And then the final element is the data landscape. We're currently and we will be a SAP shop, so we have an ERP system. SAP in and of itself is good at a lot of things, but our users find it clunky to work with in certain areas. And so when you have a user base that sees something as clunky, they're pretty smart, and they're going to develop a workaround for it. The workaround, most often, is Microsoft Excel, the best word processor in addition to a spreadsheet known to man. So what we saw was that our planners were taking a lot of data down from our ERP systems and trying to develop these supply chain models that they have. And as a result of having all this dark data, this complex data that they didn't completely understand, they were leaving bits and pieces of it out. They may not necessarily include a transportation cost, or they may not necessarily include the inventory carry cost. They were optimizing to the best of their ability within the limit of their tool sets that they had. And so with that limitation, a lot of time, the production that we were doing and the times that we were spending on this was done on a lot of instinct and gut feels along the way. So this set us up for a perfect opportunity as we had the LLamasoft tool set in place. So the solution was 4 steps. I wish I could boil it down to 3, because every good, consultant slide has 3 steps in it, but this one was a 4-step process. First was the creation of a digital twin. Now, a digital twin has a lot of different implications around it. Some people think it's just taking an existing process, manual, and creating it in bits and pieces in a digital world. We didn't want to do that. Instead, what we wanted to do was take all of the key inputs that we needed for this supply chain initiative and the desired outcome that we had and create a process. Make a digital twin that has the inputs and the outputs, but don't confine yourself to the very center part of it. And that brings me to a principle that we learned in this area. Don't create a digital twin on bad genetics. Instead, create a digital twin on what you desire it to be. The second element for us was defining the scope. We wanted to go quickly as well. Just like rue21, we wanted to move fast. So we partnered with LLamasoft at the beginning of July, and by mid-September, we had a solution up and running. Now, it's not an all-encompassing solution, and this is where having clear focus drove us to greater and greater needs and beginning to have a better feel for speed of innovation. LLamasoft brought the minimum viable product concept to us, which was foreign to our network design team. And instead of trying to build everything in a perfect state, we built what we needed to for the moment in time. So with that minimum viable product and our scope, thinking back, I'll just go back a couple of slides to our strategy. We knew we wanted to accelerate the growth in our D&E markets. China was a natural fit. BCC being 50% of our products was another natural fit. So that helped guide us into what we would be focusing on. Second, we wanted to drive ongoing supply chain productivity. So we wanted to produce the right product in the right place at the right time. I know it sounds corny, and I know everyone wants to do that. But when you're putting products in the hands of a person that uses 25% of the world's population uses one a day, we have to be conscious of that sustainability factor. We have to get it to them in the most efficient manner. And then we also looked at this allocate capital in value-creating ways. And this was one where we played a little bit with what we wanted to do because our Chinese team wasn't necessarily looking and asking for this, but we saw it as an opportunity to create some very canned scenarios that said, what if I had unlimited capacity at this plant? Or what if I had unlimited capability? And the result helps guide us toward where we should be investing our capital at in order to create the biggest return on dollars. So that gave us our defined scope, and that's our second principle, is that having clear, focused principles in the beginning will help you accelerate and deliver a minimum viable product that you can build on. Third, we wanted to, here's another buzz term for us, democratize the ability to run scenarios to those closest to the process. We didn't want this to be done in an ivory tower someplace. We wanted the people in the Chinese plants who were optimizing their production using manual spreadsheets to be able to use this tool. And now what we have the ability to do with the LLamasoft platform is we have the ability to take our SAP data out, house it in a data hub area, and utilize that to create that ongoing optimization. Not once a year that we might traditionally do. We're looking at it multiple times per month. So that's my third principle is if you have a good model, it doesn't need to be hoarded by a few. It needs to be distributed to the masses. And then finally, we wanted to identify opportunities with a bias for action. I'm just going to go ahead and say the fourth principle because I think it speaks to us, and it's exactly what Doug was talking about with RE21. Analytics without action is inconsequential. And so by having these canned areas where we were looking at total capacity and total capability, we start to have this discussion of what I should do. It's no longer the gut feel decisions for us. So we were up and running in about 2.5 months. The China team still continues to test it. We're still continuing to refine it, but we're already seeing great results from that. And then we're seeing those results in 3 areas: insights, collaboration, and then data-driven decisions. From an insights perspective, when they were looking at this clunky set of data and compromising that clunky set of data, what they were doing was missing out on the transportation cost or missing out on the inventory carrying cost. Now we have a model that shows us what each of those elements are, and we can make the decision to say, I'm going to pre-build inventory in this area because it is the lowest cost option for me. I'm going to produce at this plant at a full out pace and keep another plant a little bit idle because it is the cheapest opportunity for me. From a collaborative standpoint, we're working this information, that's a 2-year horizon, into our sales and operations planning area so we can foresee issues that we're going to have and then take those issues and make decisions upon them, which leads to the data-driven decisions, which kind of fits all throughout this whole area. What we've seen in China already, within 2 months, we're already seeing significant savings. We're producing the right product in the right area. It's a little bit different, so there's some getting used to it for sure. And the human capital savings is tremendous for us as well. We've taken all that Excel jockey work that used to be done, and we've put it into the LLamasoft engine. We're letting that do the work for us, and we're migrating that precious human capital to higher level analytics and insights. And then we've got the scenario analysis as that product base becomes increasingly complex. What we're seeing is that that would not have been able to be accomplished with spreadsheets. It's able to be accomplished with the group. And then from a global benefits area, we're just now touching the base here, but we can easily see how this can be taken from a single country model to a regional model within our Asia Pacific area or Latin America area to a global model of how to scale it. It's the same basic process. It's just how we pull this data together. And in addition, it's very repeatable. The platform would not have, without the platform, we would not have been able to accomplish this more than once a year. And with the platform, we're able to accomplish it multiple times per month. And we get it in the hands of the people that can make decisions and create action along the way. So that's me. I'll stop there. I think we're going to open it up for some Q&A now. Is that right?
So if anybody has any questions, we've got Paul from LLamasoft and Michael from Kimberly-Clark, and also Doug from rue21 and Shiva from Manthan. Or if you have any questions about the competency, please let us know. We will be in the back of the room too if you don't have questions right now. But I think that's all we have for you today. All right, thank you.
Great job. Great job. That's great.